Hey everyone, I will give everyone a second to pop in. I'm pulling up all my stuff here. And let me know, pop in the chat when you see that I've gone live to say hi and tell me what's up and that you're here for today's show. Hey Ark, already have you in the chat. Nice to see you. Um, this is going to be a really fun show. We're doing things a little bit differently this time, which I think is going to be just unique and fun for a few different reasons. And I'll get into that in a second, but let me just make sure everything is awesome. You can see and hear me there. So there's a few things why we're doing things differently today. Right now you just see my face, but we have Ark in the chat today, so he'll be able to answer questions live and everything like that. And we actually already did the interview, so I'll explain that sort of as we go. But you will see that Ark can answer questions in the messages, and then I'll still be reading things out so everyone can hear it as well. And the other really unique kind of fun thing is that I've partnered up with Metacast, which is a really cool crew. You guys should follow them on Twitter. That basically is connecting amazing NFT companies and creators. So they're going to start sponsoring my streams, which is pretty cool, and I'm very excited about. So this month's sponsor through Metacast is actually F1 Delta, and we'll talk about that on the stream too. But this is just going to be sort of a new thing that I'm trying out. You guys let me know what you think, and I'll talk a little bit about the NFT projects that are working with Metacast and working with the creators and sort of what they're offering and what they're doing for the community. So this is going to be really fun. Today, let's get started sort of with the interview, and then we'll talk about F1 Delta in a little bit. But, all right, awesome. I see everyone popping in here. Thanks, guys. Okay, cool. So this was really unique. I'm going to be showing Ark's artwork as well on the screen. I have a few tabs pulled up that I'll be showing. But also this interview, like I said, we did this beforehand, and I'll be sort of reading like the transcript. So it's going to be a little bit less like directly interactive than some of my other streams. But feel free and just chat while we do this. But really, I just kind of want to get into it, and you'll find out more of why we decided to do it this way as you're watching the stream. And I'm going to put this up here so I can see the comments at the same time. Sorry, I'm doing a little bit of a different setup. Hey, Crypto Beverage. Happy Thursday. Thanks for joining us. Okay, cool. Let's jump right in. So I DM'd Ark, and I asked Ark to. We've chatted before. I'm a huge fan of his work. It's really just. I mean, when you guys see it, if you haven't seen it before, it does something different. Like there are these loops of these 3D sort of simulations, animations that he's done that like relax you. It's just really amazing to look at. They're beautiful. They're so well done, and the color scheme is always really like soothing, and I've just always been a big fan of his work. So when I reached out to him to come behind the art, we chatted a little bit, and he said that a text interview would be best for him. So I'll just jump right into that, and then we'll talk a little bit more there. But I'll be reading what I asked, and then also what his response was as we go. So, and then I'll pull up his art on the screen too. The first question I asked was, when did you first start creating art, and what mediums did you pick up first? And I also was like, your 3D work is incredible, because it is, and it always looks so elegant with the movements that he's able to capture. So I wanted to know where he started, like what was the starting point of this creativity and just picking up this skill. So he told me that it was a little bit of a long story, but the first thing that he said really hooked me. He said that he never really went to school, not even kindergarten, which is something that was interesting, and I wanted to learn more of why. So he said he was homeschooled for a really short amount of time, like maybe 3 weeks, but not much after. And since he didn't have school or anything really, he stayed home a lot. And he was spending most of his time playing video games, loved the technical details about the games. And he said, for example, how car tires leave a line behind in the mud, or how flags flop in the wind. physics stuff like that. Anyways, fast forward a lot of years, and 2 surgeries later, my disability reached a point where I couldn't hold a controller comfortably anymore. Of course, I tried to keep or I tried my best to keep trying to make it work using alternative methods and tools. But after a few years of trying, I gave up on video games. It was a very difficult period because I didn't have many hobbies or many friends. And then he also reassured me the friends part got solved later, so don't worry. Um, so just opening up this interview and divulging a little bit about his past and why he first started getting interested um, in creating 3D art was through his interest in video games. And I thought that was so unique to just say, oh, I wonder like how this like these physics things are working within these games, even his example of like the car tire tracks or the flag waving in the wind, like that to me was just so special. To find like beauty in those small things with something that he was interacting with and that he was spending a lot of time doing, that he wanted himself to learn how to do it. So I just found that really inspiring. So I appreciate that you shared that arc. And then I also asked that I didn't want to assume, and I asked if Ark wasn't going to school because of his disability. And he said yes, that was the reason why. Um, and that his parents were focusing on work, and the schools weren't necessarily equipped properly to teach someone like him in the right way. So he went basically after he quit. Oh, and he said back to the point. After I quit video games, I started thinking, what's the closest thing to video games that I can still do? And it was 3D stuff. So he signed up for a course, put in a daily timer, which I need to do that, a daily timer, where he has to learn for more than 1 hour a day. And he also linked this really cool Medium article that he wrote that I'll link here, that was just explaining how he was able to um, really like lock in and not have, oh, learn some here, like really focus in on one thing, do the full course from front to back instead of like learning sporadically on YouTube, which I'm really guilty of. You know, when you get caught sort of like doing like these small tutorial videos and then you're not really learning the core basics of a program. So he talks a little bit about that in the Medium article, so you guys should definitely check it out. But yeah, so he decided to continue to pursue his passion even with so many barriers that life threw at him. And I asked, I was really interested in what tools that he was using to chat. Was it a voice app or something like that? Um, and Ark said he uses his phone a lot with heavy, and he said with heavy, I mean really heavy autocorrect and autofill. It's the same phone I use to control my 3D software. Also, I learned English from movies and internet, so excuse my grammar. Which is funny because his grammar is literally perfect. I would never know that English wasn't his first language. So his talent is just on multiple levels of being able to really just grasp everything and absorb all of the different things he's learning, which is just so cool. Um, and oh yeah, I said your English is amazing, by the way. And he said that all of his friends online speak English, so I'm sure that makes it easier, or at least you have like you force yourself to practice, which is pretty cool. Um, did you always have a phone? Next question was, did you always have a phone or some device to do these sort of things, or did the phone come later on and change things for you? I really asked that question because I am curious about like the different technologies and how I feel like, and I mean, obviously, I'm not a disabled person, and I'm very lucky and very fortunate that I don't have to even think about these things. But when you do start to think about it and think about how many people aren't able to access certain things because the right technologies aren't created, it was just something that really piqued my interest. And I'm curious because I think that we can do a better job within the crypto space, NFT space. We talk about this a little bit more, but in the virtual realms where anyone can be anything they want to be, they can walk around, they can do anything that they might not be able to do in real life. But if we can't get people the right tools to be able to actually access these sort of things, it's a loss. So that's why I asked a little bit about it, and that's also why I'd love to just figure out, have this be a call of action to different games within our space or virtual worlds to make the right tools accessible. But yes, back to this. So I asked if was a phone or some device um, in the beginning, or did that change things for him later on? And he said that he was more powerful when he was younger, so he didn't need. Oh, sorry, I don't know what's going on with my weird green screen. Um, so he didn't need the tools a lot when he was younger, and the nature of his disability is progressive. So where it gets worse with time. So about 2% a year is what he said, and but he, like amazingly so, as you'll see with the rest of this interview, his next message after that is there's a cure on the horizon, so he's excited for that. And the reason why he kept his disability a secret for so long is because he subconsciously wanted to prove himself first in this space, which I'd love to just talk about that for a second, because that is something that is just um, so amazing, and just so shows so much, like, I don't know the right word for it, but just shows so much strength. And not that you had to do that, Arc, but to say, I want my work to speak for itself. I want that to be, the credit to all of my work. I want it to just be purely because it's beautiful, not because someone knows that I have a disability and I'm still able to create. So I just thought that was so cool, the way that you did that. And I mean, hats off to you. You've become such a successful artist, well known on so many different platforms. So I really appreciate that you were able to keep your disability a secret for so long, to prove yourself through your work, but then also be willing to share about your disability at the same time, to help other people who maybe are struggling with the same thing or something similar, or different barriers within their life, to give them inspiration that you can continue to create. And there are different tools that are out there that can just help you move along with things like that. Um, and then, so yeah, he said after I made some progress in the community, is when he was more open to sharing about his disability. Um, and then I asked how many years ago did he begin creating 3D art? And Ark said 2 or 3 years, which I was like, holy crap, that's it? Like the amount, the quality of work that Ark is doing, like I just can't believe that you've been doing it for 2 to 3 years. But that really shows that you've been like working on this constantly, because the quality is just so amazing. I've never seen anything you put out, and I'll start putting the art up on the screen. I've never seen anything you've put out that I've been like, oh, that must not have taken a long time, or like, oh, that looks a little, like the animation wasn't exactly how it should be. Like, I feel like everything you put out is always on point, and it looks like it's taken forever. So I don't know how you get all of that accomplished, but it's very impressive. Um, and he said that that was the only job or hobby that he really enjoyed. So he spent a lot of time in the first few years doing it literally whenever he was bored. Um, and then I also asked, do you know other artists in your area, or is a lot of the community online for you? He said, I don't know anyone besides my close family or friends in real life, or besides my close family in real life, so all my friends are online. Um, some live in the same city though. I only started making friends in my 20s, so there's still some room to adjust and meet new people. And he said he's 24 right now. I think, oh yeah, I'm 26. I always forget my age. I'm 26. So we're close in age, and it is really interesting. I feel like between the ages of like 22 and 26, I feel like, I don't know, I've found so many more different things in life, and it's such an interesting space and time where I think it's such a good time to make really quality friendships that are going to last a long time. So it's a good age to be doing that. Anyways, so this is where we talk a little bit about um, what I was saying before with making virtual worlds and everything accessible. I took a little bit of a detour, but we'll get back to the art right after this. I asked, I said it's crazy how the internet can open the world for so many people. I'm super happy that you found a space that keeps you busy and fulfilled. I'm 26, so we're close in age, plenty of time to meet a lot of folks. Do you find that there are a lot of barriers within virtual worlds for disabled people? I remember we spoke a while back about getting crypto voxels to make accessible arrows on the phone, and I think Ben got backed up, and I don't know if he ever pushed it. Do you find these issues a lot? If so, what could virtual worlds do for you to be able to participate? Asking so I can bug them, which I genuinely mean, and sort of for anyone who's watching this, game developers or community members, to bug the places you are to get these sort of things. But ARC responded, do you know the Sims games or RTS games where you have the top down view and you can click anywhere you want to go? I know the Sims. I don't know RTS games, but I'm sure everyone watching this knows what that is. I'm just not a big gamer. And then he said those are usually very easy to use, or on-screen controls, because there's plenty of options. So since those worlds don't require fast reaction speed, then it's fine to use on-screen controls, which places like Decentraland or CryptoVoxels or Somnium, or I'm sure Sandbox, like none of those worlds require you fast reaction times to be able to like do certain things. So those are the kind of worlds that it should absolutely be possible for this sort of thing. Um, and yeah, and then I asked, have you been able to use those worlds at all? So he said they looked pretty cool, but he hasn't been able to access them because they don't have many controls. So he didn't continue with it. So that's just a call to action for all those folks, and I'm gonna message them after this too, just to give them a little friendly reminder. Also in the chat, I just want to Crypto Beverage mentioned, this is amazing. I'm a disabled veteran, and this is so inspirational. Thanks, Crypto Beverage. I'm super happy you're here and listening in. Andrew said, agreed, this is super inspirational. Crazy how much strength and talent ARC has. Totally agree. Yeah, Eric Groth said, I love the palettes that you use. We'll talk about that too, because I asked him specifically how he was choosing the different colors. And yes, the interview, this is actually a good transition because the interview got right back to the art after we spoke about that. And I said, back to your art, I'd love to know what inspires you and when you decide to create something. Do you know how you want to animate something before you even build it? And I'm going to pull up some of ARC's art on the screen here. So here is ARC's Instagram. You guys should absolutely check this out. I'm going to play a few of these just so you can get the full experience of what I mean when these are just so... Oh, darn. Do I have to be logged into Instagram? Okay, I'm going to find a way to play these. I think if I play a link... I'm not logged in on my PC. There we go. This one he posted today on Twitter, and I just loved it. The hi, and then it goes right back in, and it starts right over again. I just love, this one was also really cool. I messaged him about this one. I love these, just the happy, on Twitter it loops. We'll have to pull it up on Twitter. Maybe just because I'm not logged into Instagram. But it's so cool the way that you're able to like pick these different color schemes. So I asked him, I said, how do you pick your different colors when you're doing these? You'll be able to see the loops here. And then he said, literally, he just, wait, I'm going to pull that up. It was really funny what you said, ARC. Oh yeah, I said, speaking of color, how do you pick your color palette for each piece? And he said, I literally just click randomly on the color wheel and pick colors I find cute together, which I thought was an awesome response because it's so funny. Like this piece in particular is very like cute, and I think the colors work perfectly with it, and it just feels so happy. Same with this, such a cool piece. And also, I mean, we'll get to this too, but you had a really, really successful Nifty Gateway drop that we'll talk about. But these are just like, you can see the way that you decide like which divots go where, the cutting slices and the pushing off, like everything just is so beautifully done, so relaxing. You can watch this loop over and over and over again, and it's just really soothing. It's almost like therapy within art. So I just find that so amazing that you're able to do that. Um, oh, Eric Rhodes said, is most of your work with Blender? Yep, we talked about that as well. Which I think it's really cool. Arc, have you always been able to use Blender, and do you use your phone for the controls? Is that something you were able to use when you first started getting interested in 3D? Or did you have to do a lot of discovering to figure out like how to be able to get the program like usable for you? Um, and then I'll keep reading these as well. Okay, next part of the interview. Oh yeah, I asked how he gets, what inspires him when he starts creating something. Do you know what you want to animate before you even build it? And he said, usually the idea pops up in my head randomly throughout the day, and I make it exactly like I imagined it. Sometimes I start making a boat, and I end up making a castle by the end of it. So I don't always follow my ideas fully, but I need a little vague idea to start sketching and playing around. And sometimes little stuff triggers an idea. Like I see a cute glass box and think about making something like that. And something to keep in mind whenever or whatever I get an idea, it needs to be something I can achieve with my current skill set. So that minimizes a lot of ideas. So for example, I can't just get an idea to make a fully detailed plane model, etc. It needs to be something I can achieve with my current skill set, which I think is really impressive that you're able to know your skills and obviously want to grow your skills and everything like that, but also make something attainable, and not psych yourself out. Sometimes I have these crazy ideas, and if I can't get them exact, I get really discouraged and just like stop creating the piece. So I think it's really like amazing that you've been able to find a rhythm where you can make your pieces and not get discouraged to, stop making them because you can't necessarily finish it with your current skill set. So I think that's quite cool. This one's really awesome. I'm just going to keep pulling these up as we go. Sorry, that was a music one. I don't know if you guys could hear that. Tell me if you could, because we do want to play some of Arc's music ones. And then I asked, how long does it normally take Arc to create a piece on average? He said that usually he makes them in a day. So 3 to 4 hours of work. I can't do super detailed stuff because I get tired easily. So I pace myself and I limit my scope. So I can't spend 10 hours modeling a realistic house. First, it wouldn't be fun, lol. And second, I'll completely destroy my hand. Which, again, back to that, it just is so cool how you're able to like hone exactly what you want to do and make it something that is possible for you to do. And then we also, oh yeah, almost all of my renders are the result of me having fun and playing around. Sharing the result with people just makes it 10 times more fun. And yeah, I get discouraged sometimes when I see super talented artists making stuff way beyond my scope, but I usually get over it quickly. I'm still not immune to it though, which I think was just like really interesting, stuff that just makes us humans, right? And then I asked what are some of the things that he was really proud of making. And there's some really early ones that he linked that he was very proud of making that I'm going to link here in the chat. Oh, looks like I should link them separately. Sorry, guys. Here's the first one, and then here's the second one, in case that didn't come up properly. So you guys can check those out. And I'll actually pull one of those up on the screen. I thought I had one of these up here. Let's see. Let's keep going and I'll pull them up later. But it was a really cool example of like a city. And I just love that one. And then we spoke about the color, which we just talked about, how he just picks cute ones on the color wheel, which I love. And backtracking a little, I asked where the name Arc came from. And he said that Arc came from randomly one day on Discord, that he just started using it, and then he continued to use it. And I think it was generated from his first name, which was funny. And he thought it was cool. Arc was a cool short word, so he just stuck with it. And then we started talking about his Nifty Gateway sales, because we're actually doing this interview um, the day before or a couple days before the Nifty Gateway drops, and he actually has some new ones coming up as well. So I'm gonna play some of these Nifty Gateway ones, which were just totally insane, and then you guys can sort of get an idea. I hope the volume. Let me know if you guys can hear it. Okay. So these were so cool. We're gonna look at the drop right now. So ARK and you guys should check out Nifty Gateway if you haven't before. But ARK and I think does he go by Rack? Is that how you pronounce it? That's how I pronounce it, but I always see it online, so maybe I'm saying it wrong. Did these really cool collabs, and it's just so beautiful. So ARK did the visuals, and then Rack did the music for them. So I'm gonna play some of these so you guys can hear them. So that was one of the first ones. I want to like just talk about this one before we watch the other ones. First of all, the graphics are so beautifully done and so soothing, and the way that you were able to render it and have them, line up for that short moment in the middle and then separate at each side was just so cool. And having this one with the frosted so you can see the other one through it. I'm not sure if that's exactly why you made that choice, but I just love the different textures. And the really cool thing is when ARK and I were talking about this, I was like, did you have to go through a lot of iterations? How was it working with Rack together? And he said that the thing that was so cool about it was the first time around, like ARK showed, like basically was like, hey, here's what I was sort of thinking. And Rack was like, awesome, these are perfect, and like made the music for each one of them. So these were like the first ones that he put out there, and they all worked, which was just, that's incredible. Like that doesn't often happen. So that was really beautiful to just hear and see. And then let's watch some of the other ones as well. Oops, not the right. There we go. And also this was a very successful sale, which was sick. Let's see if it'll load when I click in. I love this one. Sorry, it's taking my computer a second, but hopefully, let me just try reloading the page quick. Um, here we go. Oh no. Buffer, buffer, buffer. Damn it, guys. Sorry. I don't know why this is taking a second to load. Alright, well, I'm going to link this so you guys can look at these as well. I'm going to pause it for one quick second. Even though it sounds like it's still playing, even though it's paused. Okay, now my computer's just freaking out. Sorry. You guys should watch this one on your own. I don't know why it's taking me a second. But look how beautiful this separation and then the columns and then how every column slices into these cubes and we spin around. Actually, I'm going to let this load without the music and then I'll turn the music on. Maybe that will work better. Here we go. And then it starts to loop over and over. I'll stop before my computer freaks out. But how insanely cool and beautiful is that? Like the reflections in here and the way that this like rose gold color starts to shine off of each other and glisten like a broken like disco ball almost. It's just such a cool piece with the music and with the piano. Like, I don't know. I just think it was so successfully done. I think this was my favorite of the drop. Just for me personally, I loved seeing this one. And then we have another one here. Let's see if this will properly load for me and my slow computer. I think it's just because I'm streaming, but I'm going to let it load for a second before I play. I know. Ben Bartleby, sorry if I didn't see your last name right, said the music makes those animations even more magical. It seriously does. Like they're already magical on their own, but with the music, it's just so impressive. And I love how the color scheme, you stayed true to this sort of like rose color throughout. And in some weird way, maybe because I just attach the two so much now, like the color, I'm seeing that color as the music is playing. I know that sounds weird, but um, it was just so successfully done and it's so impressive. But also, and the other weird thing is I think it's really cool. Arc and rack are the same letters but mixed around. Side note. Um, but the other really cool thing is that Arc is actually having a drop of his own on Nifty Gateway in a couple days, right? Right, Arc? I'm pretty sure it's coming up on December 5th. So I'm not sure if they'll probably start promoting it tomorrow because they have drops pretty often. But you guys should definitely check out Nifty Gateway for the new Arc drop coming up, which is just, I can't wait to see. You said there's four videos that are going to be up on Nifty Gateway. And then also I have Arc's super rare page here, so you guys should definitely check that out and just see all of the cool things that he's put out on Super Rare, and see if you could collect some things. Like, for people that don't know, I love that one. For people that don't know, Super Rare and some of in these other art platforms like Nifty Gateway, they all sort of have different ways that they sell artworks, but artists can create digital artworks that are stored on the blockchain. And so it's verifiable that the artist actually created it, it's authentic, all of these sort of different things. And then you can actually purchase people's digital work and support their work that way. And you can own a piece of it, which is quite cool because people can actually, you store it in your digital wallet, and people can actually see what's in your digital wallet, which is pretty cool. It becomes a gallery, a personal gallery for you that you can share with other people. You can show the pieces off in virtual worlds. You know, you have proof that, hey, I started collecting ARC, you know, when he first started creating like NFTs, all this stuff, and you can actually prove it because everything is stored on the blockchain. It's all verifiable. You can check, you can actually like check and verify everything. So that is just really such a cool thing in my opinion. I love the way you used liquid here. Your liquid ones are so crazy to me. I don't know how you're able to do that, but it's a very cool simulation. Um, yeah, Eric said very dreamlike. I totally agree. So we talked about that updating. Let's see. I'm gonna read back to some of this interview. So yeah, rack. We talked about that, and then I also asked because you know I've done some Nifty Gateway drops and some other drops on like OpenSea and everything, and it's such a crazy feeling when you do that sort of stuff. So I asked Ark. I said, how did you feel? Was it a roller coaster for you? Ark said, I honestly didn't know how to feel. I was proud, worried, nervous, happy, etc. It was like 3 a.m. my time. I had my friends with me through chat, which was very comforting. Plus, my parents were awake for it as well. They noticed I was nervous, told me not to worry about it, and they're happy for me even if it doesn't work out. And it really did work out, and it's really beautiful just to see other people really appreciating your work, and your collab was just so impressive. I said, do you feel like the piece came to life with the music? Was it the first time music was put to your work? Also, do you hope to do more collaborations in the future? And Ark said it actually was not the first time that he put music to his work. He had tried it before, so I'll link that as well. And it's actually a really cool piece. Here we go. I just linked it. He said unfortunately it was too much work, so he only did one, but he's hoping for more collaborations in the future. And I'm sure a lot, like just the music collaborations just seem so organic, like they just go together so well. And then I asked if he had more projects coming up that he's excited about. We talked about the Nifty Gateway drop. Yep, I got that right. It's going to be on the 5th. And the and it will be, let's see, yep, 4 videos, which is going to be really exciting. So I'm assuming they'll start promoting everything tomorrow. And it's unseen stuff, which is really exciting. And then really after that, we started talking about the closing questions. So while I start prepping for the closing questions and we look at some more art, you guys, if you have questions here in the chat that you'd love for Ark to answer, feel free and message him so we can get everything answered here, and so you can ask him anything while he's online. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel because that helps me put more content out for you guys as well. But yeah, feel free and drop questions in the chat. And before we answer or ask the closing questions, I'm going to do a couple more things. We're going to look at a little bit more of Ark's art, and then I'm also going to talk to you a little bit about the sponsor for the stream. I'll talk to you about it on the stream tonight as well, a little bit more, so we'll just do a short one for now. And then we'll get to the closing questions for Ark, which I thought some of his answers were pretty cool. You guys know I do these at the end of the show, so we'll talk about those as well. Uh, repetition. It's funny because I feel like every single one of your pieces is repetition, but I like how this one was done. I mean, I wish I had more like this, like the extruding and the like perfectly landing in. It just looks so cool to me. Like I almost wonder what things look like as like zoomed out, or do you only make everything exactly in this frame, or is the frame normally bigger and then you like crop it as you go? I wonder. I don't know if that's probably a hard question to answer through message, but we'll see. Um, this is also a really cool piece. I love these sort of just like factory looking ones where you're making different things. These dowels, and then they like fall, the rods like fall to the back when it moves. Also, I guess that's a question I have too before we get to some of those closing questions. Like, do you study, how do you figure out the movements for everything? Like even just this pole pipe that drops here, now it slightly goes forward. Watch this. Slightly goes forward and then they all rush backwards when it moves. Like what are you studying to figure out stuff like that? Or are you just seeing what looks natural and kind of just like going with the flow? Like, do you watch other physics videos and stuff to figure that sort of stuff out? You said everything in the frame, and if you zoom out, everything starts breaking down because I only polished what's exactly in the frame. Okay, so that's what I just asked about, like the box. Like, do you crop it later, or do you start with the square image? So that's cool to know. So you're polishing the things that are directly in the frame. That'd be cool to sort of see the behind the scenes, and like when it's zoomed out, it looks like absolute chaos, but when it's zoomed in, it looks like a perfect simulation. You usually go with the flow. That's cool that you're able to just with your eye be able to like tell what should move where, because it looks so natural, like how it actually would fall, which is really cool, and how things get held up there or fall off the edge. Some left in the box. So beautiful. I could seriously, I know I'm like clicking through a lot of these. I could watch these all day. I love the ones with the shiny surprise on the inside. So cool. And then it transitions to the next. I love that. These are really beautiful. You guys should check out Arc Super Rare and Arc's website. He just has like everything um, on his website. It's just arc4g.net, and he just has laid out everything really well. He told me he was really proud of this one. This is an early one you did too, right, Arc? Pretty sure you told me that was an early one. And he has everything linked on here, so it's a very cool website. And obviously Instagram, Twitter, you're really active on all of those. Okay, cool. So I also want to talk about really quickly the sponsor, and then we'll do the closing questions for ARC. And if you guys have questions as we're doing this, like I said, feel free and pop them in. But this was really cool. So I talked about this a little bit at the beginning, but basically, I teamed up with Metacast, and they brought me on as a creator with their team, which is really cool, and I was just happy to do it. And like I said, they're connecting platforms with creators to sort of just share like what they're doing and sponsor different videos. So they're actually the sponsor for this video today. And then also I have a video tonight with Papa Bear that I'm super excited about that I hope you guys can join in for in like 7 hours. So they're the sponsor for that as well. But basically F1 Delta Time is a licensed Formula One blockchain based game. And it's running on Ethereum, which is really cool. And it brings you a sort of, you can buy these different cars and actually race them along, and you act like I was explaining before how you have, for those that don't know, these are sold in NFTs, non-fungible tokens, and because they're stored on the blockchain, you can like view them and everyone can see that you hold them in your digital wallet. So it's kind of a collectible, but then it's also as utility because you can play it within a game, which is pretty cool. And it has a play to earn model. So you can collect, F1 Delta Time consists of two components. Number one, like I said, you can collect the scarce digital items to fill your garage. It has insanely cool visuals, and then you can also use the items to go head to head with multiplayer racing. So they have like the different standings, and they sort of break everything out. And I mean, everything is just really beautifully done, obviously, because they are a huge company teamed up with a huge gaming platform that were able to successfully bring all of that together. So you guys should definitely just check this out. I'm gonna drop a link here, and I'll talk about it more later in the next stream. And maybe we could even at some point watch a little bit of the actual game. But what are your favorite video games you played as a kid? Oh, Ark, that's a good question for you. Especially now that we're talking about video games on the side. But yeah, very cool sponsor. Thank you for sponsoring today's show, and thank you Metacast for connecting all of us. You guys should definitely check out Formula One or F1 Delta Time. Okay, now back to, I'm gonna put my face back up here and we're gonna do the closing questions. Hi again. Okay, so you can answer that question, Ark, and then I'll start reading off some of the questions that we discussed together. So, and these are the ones that I do with all my shows, so same questions. Oh, Ark said Minecraft was his favorite video game. That's a fun one. Do you build really? Oh, I'd love to see the stuff you build in there. I don't know a ton about Minecraft, but I've tried building in there before, and it's actually really cool. I'd love to see if you have any pictures of that stuff, Ark. Eventually, not right now, but if you do later. Okay, so I asked Ark, what is a skill that you wish you had? And he said math skills, which I find interesting because when do you use math, or when do you want to use math? Is it with the actual 3D work you're doing, or is it with something else, or just a side note, like something you just always wish you had? Your favorite animal? Cats, probably, is what he said. I totally agree. My cats are actually being really calm right now, but those of you who watch this show know that my cats are normally crazy and have almost knocked this whole screen down, and they sometimes make appearances on the show. So, good answer. If you only had to watch one movie for the rest of your life, what would it be? And he said, that sounds like a nightmare. So even if it's a good movie, it would get annoying quick. I'd probably pick something animated and easy to digest. I can't think of any right now, though, because I'm not a big movie guy. Totally fair. I didn't grow up watching a lot of movies, so that question's actually really hard for me, too. But I agree that watching one movie forever does sound like a nightmare as well. Oh, yeah, and the question about math, he said, yes, math makes everything easier when you can do perfect calculations for the loops, etc. Totally makes sense. I'm sure you're actually getting good practice as you're creating your stuff, too. I asked, what is your favorite place on Earth, near or far? And he said, where I'm sitting right now, LOL, or maybe in a random city in Europe where you can walk everywhere and don't have to use a car. I love that answer because, first of all, it makes me happy to know that your favorite place is where you're sitting right now. And a couple people have said that as well, or maybe like their backyard or something. And I just find that a really special answer, especially in like a time right now when everyone is in quarantine and lockdown, that they still find their personal space really special, and they're not just like itching to get out of it or hating it or whatever, and it gives like a new appreciation to things. So I love that you chose that, and then also a city you can walk around in and there are no cars. That's very nice. I totally agree with that answer. Would you want to live forever was the next question, and the answer was just no. So very direct at nope, not living forever, which is often the answer we get on the show. And then I said Bitcoin or Ethereum, and the answer was Ethereum. And then last two questions. Your favorite NFT that you own. He said, I don't own any. It might seem odd to be in the space and not own any NFTs, but I never got the chance to own any. Which is actually not that odd, because we've had a good amount of people on the show say that they don't currently own any, which I do find interesting. But Yeah, that's interesting. So that was your answer for that one. And then number 8, the last question. If you could have one NFT you wanted for free, which one would it be? So literally anything out there that's already created. And he said, I'll sort by the most expensive and get that. Which I love that answer, like so true and honest. Like, oh, if I can have any NFT at all, okay, I'll just see what the most expensive NFT was, and that's the one I'll have because potentially it obviously would have that resale value or higher depending on what it is. So I think that was a pretty good answer. Um, so yeah, this was so cool. I'm just gonna pop the screen back up here. Like I said, if you guys have more questions or just comments for ARC, definitely feel free and reach out to him on Twitter or me, or anything like that, or Instagram. I'm sure you use a lot. But this was just such a cool and unique stream that we did a little differently than we normally do. But I loved that it gave me the opportunity to learn so much more about you, ARC, and then hopefully gave you the opportunity to share a bit about your story and your processes and how you create, because it is such a unique and really cool thing to share with the community, especially for people who are dealing with their own different processes of how they create work and what their own barriers are. So I think, I mean, you're so resilient in the way that you've been able to create and produce and put things out there. So I just really, really appreciate your work. I've been a big fan for a while. I can't wait for your Nifty Gateway drop on the 5th. So you guys definitely look out for that. I'm sure you'll be promoting that, like I said, on Twitter and everything like that. Watch out for that for his solo drop. And then also keep up to date with all of his stuff on Super Rare and Instagram and Twitter and everything and what he's been working on. I'm so impressed and inspired by you, and I think others will be too when they see your work. And I just think your work has spoken for itself for so long. So I really appreciate that you told the story behind it. So thanks for coming on, and thank you everyone as always for watching. I really, really appreciate every single one of you. And we do have a show tonight with Papa Bear in, like I said, about 7 hours. So it's 9 p.m. my time, but that's 10 Eastern, and then 7 p.m. Pacific. So join tonight for that stream, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.